Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. Here to talk a little Packers. Some people were going, what in the world are you doing live at 1:30 Central Time? Well, the plan was to not do a show tonight because Friday Night Lights, got a couple other meetings I've got to meet. So got home in time. Shot Jacob a text, said, hey, man, you want to go live here a little bit early today? And he said, heck yeah. So here we are. Jacob, how you doing, bud?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling a bit older today. I woke up. It's my birthday today, so I woke up
Let's go.
Just on topic. I've never had this in my life. So of course on my 37th birthday, I woke up and I must have slept wrong on my side or something. I feel like someone stuck a knife in between my shoulders and I can't breathe deep or it hurts. So it's great getting old.
How old are you today, Jake?
37.
37.
I think. Yeah.
I'm just a few years ahead of you, but let me tell you something, sir.
It sucks.
It doesn't get better.
So my dad called me this morning. I told him that story, and he goes, I threw my back out the other day when I sneezed. I was like, yeah,
yep.
It's common.
Been there, done that too. But all right, let's do this. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors. That's the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live, Wisconsin-based since '92, specializing in Packers tickets. They're Wisconsin's largest ticket source, with offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Just click on the link in the video description. That'll send you to theticketking.com, where you can register for free as a customer. Go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. We appreciate them sponsoring the show. Jacob, we're kind of flying off cuff here, man. What I was thinking is, why don't we talk a little 53-man roster and just step back for a second, look at the depth chart and go, okay, now that the smoke is cleared, we kind of know who's going to be on the practice squad, who isn't. We could talk about maybe some game day activations that we're probably staring at here in the near future. But we'll just kind of look at the roster as a whole here, if that's cool with you. First things first, though, I did want to do this. Clay Matthews obviously getting inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame. Jacob, have you seen this video of him shouting out Aaron Rodgers?
I actually just saw it right before we went live, and I shared it.
Let's hit it real quick. So this was courtesy of Packers.com, I believe it was, that had the reporting. So this is Packers Hall of Famer Clay Matthews shouting out Aaron Rodgers, who couldn't make his Packers Hall of Fame enshrinement. Here we go.
Unfortunately, Aaron couldn't be here today, rightfully so. But he did text me early today that he was going to lock himself in a dark closet, sip on some ayahuasca, and join us in spirit. So wherever you are.
I'm sorry.
So the delivery was perfect. The way he looked around, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Clay Matthews, what a legend, man! What an absolute legend.
Well, I mean, honestly, he's my favorite player of all time. My favorite Packer. You can see, I got the jersey behind me here. My dad gave me that jersey for, I think it was like my 20. No, I think it was. Boy, I can't remember. He gave it to me for my birthday. My dad's old school. He doesn't give gifts. Like,
I relate.
He just doesn't give gifts. Like, we would never be like the type of kid that I could go in a store and be like, I'd like that. And he would just he'd slap you before he'd buy it for you. But he bought me a Clay Matthews jersey one year, and I was just flabbergasted. So I've worn that to every single game I've ever been to. That's why it's up on the wall. We talked about it the other night, man. I don't know. He is a game changer. You talk about guys that absolutely were difference makers. I think that he's on that level of modern day, like Aaron Donald's, Khalil Mack's. When he was in his prime, you had to account for Clay Matthews. You had to account for him. You could not just allow the guy to not get blocked. You couldn't not chip block him. You couldn't have a tight end kind of, helping out. And the fact too that he just was always a great guy. He was funny. He was humble. Came from a great family too, which most people don't remember, that like Bruce Matthews and I think his father, his uncle, like 6 cousins all played in the league. Like
between the 3 of them, they played like almost 40 years of professional football. It's crazy.
And a lot of them did it at all pro levels, which is crazy.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm excited very much to see him get the accolades and the respect he deserves. And I almost feel bad for Aaron Campman because I love that man a lot too. He's responsible for a lot of memories as well. Yeah. And he was a really shut down sort of. He was more lunch pill, more like he's not flashy. I feel like Clay was definitely more. They were almost polar opposites with how they played their games. But it's interesting that both of them are getting in at the same time. I couldn't be more happy for both of them, and they shaped a lot of my childhood. So I appreciate them.
Yeah. Definitely. And Clay Matthews, when you were talking about, they had to account for him because they started showing him so much attention in his pass rush. That's why Dom Capers invented the psycho defense.
Yep.
And the psycho version, or the psycho install within Dom Capers' 34 zone blitz defense was, let's do this. Everywhere Clay goes, whether he's on the left or the right, they're setting the mock to him, meaning we block him before everyone else. Why don't we create a package where there's only one down lineman? I remember Colin Jenkins being that one down lineman. One down lineman, and everybody else is linebackers standing up, moving around. And they would have them moving around before the pre-snap. Now, you can't do this on rundowns, right? You're going to get gashed. So this was like those passing situations against a pass-heavy team. And Clay would be roaming around with them. And then all of a sudden, bam, ball snapped. Everybody would disperse. Clay would rush from a certain spot. And the goal was to get Clay Matthews singled up on one blocker rather than having a double team kind of take him away. So much fun. I think that was Nick Perry that you could see in the crowd there too.
Yep.
Which he I think we would all agree, he never lived up to that first round hype. But when you talk to his teammates, they were like, he was a good player. I don't know how long he lasted in the league. It seemed like when he left Green Bay, he might have bounced around to one or two teams and he was done. But Clay Matthews just unbelievable, man.
Yeah, we always kind of look back with 2020 type of armchair quarterback type stuff. At one point, though, didn't we have, it was Clay and Nick Barnett, and then who you just mentioned there, like that, is that
I'm trying to think. Nick Barnett, he may have been on the team but injured the year they won the Super Bowl. I'm not 100% sure.
Because I feel like Desmond Bishop took over that role. Right. Isn't that when he did?
That's the way I remember it. Let me go to Pro Football Reference real quick and just take it.
I guess the point of it is that, like, at one point, we did have some thumpers, and we had and it just happened to coincide with the year that we win the Super Bowl kind of thing. But, Nick Perry, I feel like definitely didn't live up to the first round type hype, but I think he's gotten way more hate than deserved because there were times where I saw that dude make some plays, and we saw exactly why they had such a high draft grade on him. And it's NFL is tough, man. You literally it's shocking to me. Did you watch the game last night? The Colorado and I don't remember who the heck they played, but
I did. And just to check that real quick, Nick Barnett's last year in Green Bay was 2010. He only played 4 games, so he got hurt. I think he got a ring technically, and then obviously went on to Buffalo. But yeah, I did watch the game there with Colorado. What'd you think, man?
No, it's just crazy that there's more talent, I feel like, ever coming out. Like back in 1980, however many draft it's crazy because the rounds I think were more at that time, but there was less of a talent pool. And I'm just saying that, like, nowadays, between guys that transfer from different programs to different programs and maybe don't get the spotlight on that they deserve, or guys that are just never even got to get into the starting rotation, or guys that were at a school where they couldn't, there is so much talent. UDFAs right now are arguably just as valuable as early round picks, which is crazy to think about that. You have been eating the whole time on this podcast, bro. What are you doing?
Mandy made me up this little miniature charcuterie board. Look at this little spread.
What the?
Hey, man, listen. I got to go straight from here to a lawyer's office and sit like this for 30 minutes. And then I got to go straight from there to Rogersville and watch a football game. So, yeah, when she said, you want me to put you a charcuterie board together, I said, give me one of them there fancy Lunchables, ma'am, please. So that's what we did.
Charcuteries.
I eat, man. And I know there's people that watch this that do their own podcast and they're like, he's so unprofessional. I know. It sucks.
No, I can't hear you smacking. That's why I was surprised. I looked up. I'm like, this dude's freaking eating the whole
Been
time.
eating the whole time.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So let's go to the chat here real quick. Aaron Rodgers in the house said, fellas, we are officially a week away. Uniform matchup has been posted. Wearing home green. Let's go. Go, Pack, go. I love it. Go down there. With
I was told
movies.
that we weren't allowed to wear greens because we could get murdered.
And you remember when Josh Jacobs got roasted for saying he heard it was bad down there?
Oh, bro,
Now,
look at what AJ Brown said.
Exactly. Now everybody's starting to really come to the realization going, maybe that wasn't hateful. Maybe that's really how it is down there.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I love Brazil. Love all my Brazilians, you know. I got tons of fans in Brazil, you know.
Absolutely, man.
But to be fair, it's a third world country that basically just had their election stolen. And like, you just chill on saying Brazil's safe. And like, if they tell you literally like, don't leave, don't bring your phone, don't be, you know, wearing anything nice.
If that's maybe true, what AJ, again, Jacob's not saying, it's what AJ Brown said.
I'm not saying this. Yeah. AJ Brown is saying this, which, you know, I'm not going to Brazil. AJ Brown is. I would believe him over me.
I love the fact that the Brazil Packer fans are getting the game. Well deserved. Love it. Just like when they went over across the pond last year. Anytime the international fans get a chance to watch the Packers play, they deserve it way more than us, in my opinion. They're to be that big of a fan at that far of a distance and continue to root on the team.
More than us.
Bro, there's some people right here in the States that take this. I'm about to say a bad word. Take this stuff for granted. And you got people that they may go their entire life rooting for a team and never have a single opportunity to go watch them play. And then we got fans that are like, why are they taking out of the country? Like, come on, man. Can they not get one game every now and again? That's how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong. But as far as is it dangerous, this and that, I'm speaking from complete ignorance. I've never been down there. I've never been to these places where it's been a hot button topic. I do know this. If something were to happen to one of the players, man, you talk about a media firestorm.
I was going to say that'd probably be the end of, at least in that continent where you're going, you know, that would be probably NFL Europe, and that's about it.
So hopefully all the good fans that we're talking about that we've got, you know, grown accustomed to connecting with on Twitter and everything, hopefully they far outweigh anything bad that may or may not happen, you know. But CJ in the chat said AJ Brown talked about the security briefing and said he will be staying in his room. So there you go, man.
That's what it is.
But all right, let's see what else we got here in the chat. Rev Trev NFL says, where do you guys get your Packers jerseys from?
So if you take a D train downtown, you talk to a guy named Sampson, he will hook you up.
He'll be behind the Costco. When it comes to buying like an NFL jersey I'm going to wear, Rev Trev, you guys are going to hate me for this, but give me the authentic on-field, game-worn, I'll pay top dollar for it. That's how I am with jerseys. Now, when it comes to autographed memorabilia, you know, I don't care if it's a Beckett style. The autograph is what I'm after, right? I want an autograph, and the fact that they put it on a somewhat authentic looking jersey, that's good enough for me. Which I'm trying to think, what is the site that we always use to get the memorabilia? I got to
pristineauction.com.
Pristine Auction. So if you're getting autographed memorabilia that you're not going to wear, Rev Trev, I go to pristineauction.com. But if I'm getting an authentic jersey, I personally like to get it from Lambeau Field too, just to know it came from Lambeau Field. That's just
which, by the way, pristineauction.com used to be a trusted sponsor of the Packernet Podcast Network. So, you know, check them out and maybe shoot them a DM and be like, do it again.
Yeah. Say, hey, that redneck was talking about you and the dude with the beautiful beard. So there you go.
Yeah.
Dennis Phillip, as I chew on my food here, says, question marks. I think everybody's trying to figure out why we're alive right now, Jacob. I think my wife's trying to figure out why we're alive right now. Here we are.
That's it. So. One that you didn't highlight, but I will, because it was very exciting for me and Mr. Timothy, who cannot be with us for maybe a few days here, but he will be back in full form. Timmy 10?
Come on.
Timmer. Okay, there it is. Omar Brown practice squad. If you guys don't know who Omar Brown is, when me and Tim actually had to fly solo for one episode, we highlighted a few. This is pre-draft. This is guys we're looking at that kind of fit our type of. Hey, look at that! Jeez, this is almost a professional type show. I tell you.
Oh man, I'm just eating.
It's great. I'm over here eating lunch.
We hit on it a little bit last night. That's why I had it. So.
Did you? Okay, cool.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Mr. Paul Brettel right there highlighted that we did sign Mr. Omar Brown, a D-back. He's more of a safety, but as you look at where he lined up, the dude is an absolute tweener, which was so intriguing to me and Tim. He was right up there with Katano Oladapo, there with Trey Taylor from Air Force, a few other guys, late round safeties, Bayaki, I believe. So we had him in our radar, and I was really surprised that he did not get signed. He's prototypically like really built for this position. He's 6'1", 200 pounds. Career at Nebraska, and I believe he did, at University of Northern Iowa. He had 2,478 snaps. 313 of those were in the box. 461 in the slot, almost 1,500 at the cornerback actual positions, and then 255 at the strong, I believe, safety, or at least in a safety position there. So talk about a guy that's well-versed that could play basically anywhere on the field. Look at that right there. So he peaked at 189, as Clinton shown right here, ended up falling into the 328 category. Nebraska, again, cornerback. I would more list him probably as a safety, but the fact that he was basically forgotten about in this draft. I mean, I think that that's one of those people that maybe Goody saw. I don't know if he was originally on a different team and got released, or if they're just now signing him. I haven't been able to dive that deep into that situation there, but I'm excited, and it's adding depth to an already ridiculously deep safety room.
Exactly. So, and you got someone, like you said, who's got experience at multiple positions, and you throw him on the practice squad, let Jeff Hafley coach him up. You know, he's going to be able to hopefully pick up on things that Coach Haff is coaching to the 53 man roster. And Jay says here, 200 pounds. He's thick. I think he is thick. I believe a man said that.
Thick.
Go. So, by the way, man, that tweet I put out yesterday of Jeff Hafley saying we're just going to let it rip, my God, did it blow up. It's up to like 200,000 views or something. It went nuts. Packer fans are really optimistic and fired up about Jeff Hafley. I am too, to be honest with you. So there you go. Yeah. United Bates says Omar Brown was released from Denver. That's good to know, man.
Fun fact here, CJ N's asking, was Louisville DB really named Storm? He was, and he's arguably one of the best cornerbacks right now in preseason. The guy has been ripping it up. I don't remember exactly where he is, but he's been showing up to the point where if you name your kid Storm Duck, he better do something. Mm-hmm. I mean, he good or bad, he better be known for something.
That's like the boy named Sue, right? You know, the old Johnny Cash song. Yeah. You name your kid Sue, it's gonna get tough real quick. Yeah. You know? So, all right, let's take a quick second and dive into the 53-man roster here, the depth chart, if you will. I've got some screen grabs here. These were the most recent that I seen come across ESPN. This does not include the practice squad. So, to the best of my knowledge, this is your 53-man roster. You'll see the IRs and things like that, and even the questionable marks, since we are technically in season now, to see who's kind of banged up and all that type of thing. Now, obviously, A.J. Dillon, he was projected to be the second best running back on the team. He's going to go on season-ending IR. Marshawn Lloyd's still questionable the last time we did the screen grab. And then, of course, you got Emmanuel Wilson, those two behind Josh Jacobs. I'm thinking that maybe Merriweather or one of these other backs, Jacob, might get activated for the Philly game if Marshawn Lloyd isn't truly healthy. You know what I mean? They deactivate him for the first game. Who knows, though, man? The fact that they didn't put him on that 4-week IR, that really tells you he's got to be close, right?
Yeah, it has been one of those big question marks, definitely for the whole training camp situation here, because we've heard basically out of one side of people's mouths that he's got all the talent in the world, that he's just really – that he's got a zip to him. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference when you see him get the ball where he can almost kind of like cut on a dime sort of thing and just moving and that sort of stuff. And, hey, nice guy Rick right here. He goes, we need a speedy receiver. I think that's the kind of possession the type of position he could offer us is one of those more, I hate saying scat back because I think that labels him into a box, but I think that he is that shifty where he could be more of that like change of pace type back. And to be said, I don't know, man. If it's more that he's 1 week to 2 weeks out and they don't want to test him, I'd like to see Nate McCreary up there. He just seems like he runs violently. And he's been with this system before, so it's not like it's completely fresh and new. But I like what Merriweather's done as well. And I think that if he were to get the nod, then I wouldn't have a problem with that. But I just like McCreary, man. He just seems like he runs with that somebody, the person that he's about to hit is like, hey, I think he talked to your sister. And he's like, what? He just has that mentality to him where it's like, I'm going to ruin your life.
It's hilarious. So obviously the quarterback room's pretty well set. You got Jordan Love, Malik Willis. You got Sean Clifford on the practice squad. Many people believe that Sean Clifford's going to be elevated for Friday night's game to be the backup. You can do that 3 times, and then on the 4th time, you've got to sign them to the roster for the rest of the year unless they go on IR, is the way I understand that. So Malik Willis, there's a chance he could be ready to be the backup Friday. I think it's a better shot that Sean Clifford will end up being the backup. But nonetheless, wide receiver room looks pretty healthy, Jacob. You got Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed listed as the starters, Dontavion Wicks, Bo Melton, Malik Heath as the backups. I feel really comfortable saying these wide receivers are completely healthy going into this game against Philly. Is there anything I'm overlooking there? Have you heard of anyone being banged up? Because it seems like there has been nothing on the injury front for these wide receivers, man.
No, and that's a testament to I myself. I'll call myself out. I was critical of the way that Matt LaFleur played or did not play his starters during the preseason. But look at where we are right now. We have basically nobody that was going to be a starter that is going to be held out at this moment. And why is that? Because we preserve them. Also, in addition to that, we have seen, I would argue, the adamant amount of progress out of our second stringers. Now, I would have liked to see more from the starters just to maybe get their feet wet a little bit more. I'm thinking guys like Nixon and Stokes and those types of players where it's like you had them in for a few series. So I want them to be able to maybe perfect their craft a little bit there. But all in all, I think that this is really, really great. We're going in. And the most important thing to me was that the offensive line was healthy. And if I'm not mistaken, our offensive line starters, depending on, I guess, if you think Jordan Morgan is a starter, should be healthy and ready to go for week 1. I think that is going to be probably the biggest factor, X factor for this game. If we can keep Love even just a little bit, from running around, I think he is that pinpoint and he's on target with his receivers. Like you just talked about, these guys have made jumps, man. They're ready to go.
Definitely. Let's see here. This is really interesting as we get ready to step into the tight end position. Nice guy Eric 21 says, do y'all see us signing Joe Wilson to the practice squad? So I misread it. I thought he said, did y'all see that we signed him? So do we see them signing Joe Wilson to the practice squad? I would love to see it. I felt like he balled out pretty well. When you look at the tight end room right now, you got Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, Ben Sims, Tyler Davis. Tyler Davis is now on season-ending IR. And Tucker Kraft is listed as questionable, but I think we would all agree he's going to play week 1 as it sits right now. So you're going in with 3 tight ends here. And as far as the tight ends that are on the practice squad, do we remember who made the practice squad? Because I know there was a lot of shuffling around, a lot of stuff shuffling around there with the practice squad. Jacob, do you know of the tight end that's on the practice squad?
Oh, boy. I can't know it enough to say for certain. You guys know that I did love Joe Wilson, though. So I'd be very excited if he did make it. I don't remember being shown that confirmation, so I won't speak on that. But
I'm going to PackersWire.com real quick and see if they've got a full list of it just talked about the 2 players that were signed, so I'm not seeing a full list here.
Here it is. Chat's already on it. Messiah Swinson. That's who they got. And I remember we did profile him pre-draft. Definitely didn't have the popping off RAS kind of stuff. Not really athletic. I think he was more in that mold of a Mercedes Lewis type tight end, but had sneaky kind of athleticism here or there, which is kind of like Mercedes Lewis, to be honest. So I personally don't hate that. I'd like Messiah Swinson actually quite a bit, so I'm cool with that.
I think I grabbed the old screen grab, and this is a couple of days out of date. I couldn't find anything else there. So here was the official moves that were announced. It says the following players to the practice squad. So defensive line, Deslin Alexander, quarterback Sean Clifford, defensive lineman James Esther, kicker Alex Hell, wide receiver Julian Hicks, Donovan Jennings, offensive lineman, cornerback Kalen King, running back Nate McCrary, that's your guy, running back Ellis Merriweather, cornerback Robert Rochelle, offensive lineman Lasita Smith, and tight end Messiah Swinson. So there you go. We got our three, and they chose Messiah Swinson over Joe Wilson. So there you go. That's
Sounds like chat's, as always, helping us out here. Chris Russell's back. Sounds like he's good to go. And it sounds as if I saw,
there was one more too. I think I've got it right here. Let's see. There's a Neverson.
It looked like it's Ryan reiterates my point. Swinson had an RAS of 1.59.
Sound like me?
That's what I was gonna say. I got that good.
Yeah. So Omar Brown and Chris Russell were the two. That was the other.
Okay.
Omar Brown.
Yeah, that's right. So most people are saying there's about 2 spots left. Some people say 3. So yeah.
There you go. All right. So offensive line, Jacob. From left to right, Rasheed Walker, Elton Jenkins, Josh Myers, Jordan Morgan, Zach Tom. Jordan Morgan is questionable. Many people are saying they expect Sean Ryan to start at right guard because Jordan Morgan has kind of fallen behind now, missing with the shoulder injury. So we'll see how that shakes out. Jacob Monk kind of rose through the ranks there at the end of the preseason. So it's going to be interesting to see how they may or may not use him. You got Kadeem Telford, who can play backup right tackle. It kind of feels like Andre Dillard is your backup left tackle, but he is questionable. So they'll probably try to pop Kadeem Telford over there if they need him, or maybe even a Travis Glover. So on the offensive line, I think it was Jake Shavink actually asked in the chat here. It's a great question. Say, can this interior unit handle Jaylen Carter? That will be the question. Yes, it will be the question.
And
what you're gonna want to do too is in the passing game, work those RPO arrows, and get that ball out of Jordan Love's hand quick, right? Because I can't imagine that they're just going to line Jaylen Carter up over Elton Jenkins and go, okay, let's see if their best offensive lineman can block our best defensive lineman. They'll probably be moving him around, Jacob, to try to get him into that A to B gap opposite of Elton Jenkins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. And Elton Jenkins, don't get me wrong. If you remember, Elton Jenkins is no schmuck, right? He stood up Aaron Donald to the point where Aaron Donald was throwing haymakers at him because he got so frustrated that he could not penetrate Elton Jenkins, right? So you have to think about that. I think you also have to think about the fact that, like you just reiterated or referenced that RPO game. Well, guess what? Jordan Love is good at bootlegging outside too. So if you want to go ahead and just scheme, and Matt LaFleur is great at scheming whatever situation he needs to scheme. So if there's a situation where it says, hey, Jaylen Carter is shutting down the interior of this whole basic playbook that we have, okay, cool. We're gonna schedule ourselves outside of it. And we have the capabilities, we have the personnel to do that. I mean, I really do think even if we had Royce Newman sitting there on Jaylen Carter, we could at least double team him. We could at least bootleg out. We could at least, like you said, do RPOs, do some play actions, do a lot of different things to take what he does great, which don't get me wrong, the dude's he's a human meat missile that just basically is shot very slowly out of a cannon. He's not very explosive, but he will get there. And once he gets there, it's a bowling ball. So, I just think that we have to adjust our game a little bit, and we'll see how it goes.
Let's look at this. Let's take a look at, and I can zoom in if we need to, Jacob. But this is kind of a quick glance of the matchup. So we were talking about their defensive front, right? So let's go Eagles defense, and let's go with their nickel personnel, and let's go with the Packers 11 personnel. So there's the matchup that Jake is talking about. Notice Carter in the middle. Can you see those numbers okay, Jacob?
I can see them. I got to squint a little.
I can zoom in.
There you go. Perfect.
A little bit better.
Let's do that.
Yeah. All right. So Jaylen Carter last year, the 6th highest graded defensive lineman in the league, 87.4. And obviously this is what I'm talking about. Like if you've got him on Elton Jenkins' side, like they're showing here, I feel a little bit better with him playing that shade to Elton's side. But if they put him on the shade on the other side, and it is Sean Ryan over there, that could be some issues. What another thing that you want to kind of key in on here too, they're going to be scouting us. And what did Bobby Peters' book point out? We love weak side, wide, like a weak side outside zone run. They're going to know that. So how do they combat it? They'll probably try to put Jaylen Carter on the weak side of the formation, would be my guess, because we run a little more often to the weak side. So you may have a little bit of something there that you can scheme up. Now, how do you combat that? Change up your game plan and start running strong side, outside zone, right? That's one thing that you can do. Now, problem too, though, they got Brandon Graham still out there at 84, pretty darn good, 15th highest graded edge in all of football last year. You got Huff on the other side. I don't know how many snaps he had, but a 79.7. They're pretty solid on the edges. Their weak spot, when you look at this, I imagine those are rookie corners that are not showing grades. So maybe you try to test the corners. This might be one of those games where it's just a quick passing game for the Packers, and try to get out front that way. Because, again, the number one way you can neutralize someone like Jaylen Carter is get that ball out of your hand in less than 2 seconds and work those RPOs, right? So what sticks out to you here, man? I didn't plan on doing a Packers-Eagles preview, and I don't want to go into a deep dive here, but it's since the question kind of rose there, are you worried about Jaylen Carter?
I'm more worried about the collective talent at that line. I mean, you just look at it across the board. There's not a bad one. There's not. And even if you talk about snap counts and that sort of stuff, I think you highlighted the greatest deficiency with this defense is the cornerbacks. Even guys like Slay on the outside, he didn't score better than a 66. Don't get me wrong. That's not. If my lowest scoring cornerback was a 66, I'd be fine. But the fact that you have 2 rookies on the outside, which I believe too, if I'm not mistaken, the Eagles drafted 2 cornerbacks that we wanted right in front of us during the draft. I think they got our boy, help me out, Chad. I think they got the white boy wonder cornerback, and I think they got another one that we were looking at too.
Hurt, though? Am I thinking right?
Yeah, I believe he is. Yep. And so you're looking at that secondary.
Wonder, you such a racist. What a racist.
It's the only thing we got, man. Cooper and Mitchell.
We get one.
Right here. Cooper, right, Jake's there. Mitchell and DeJean. There you go. So
Benyon Mitchell. That's who they're showing in the slot there.
So I think it is it's going to be a lot. Think about that, being a rookie corner going against the first game of your life under the lights. You're in Brazil, right. Going against Jordan Love and a very potent Packers offense, I would argue. And that right there might be a little bit too much for them to handle, to be honest. And I think that's something that maybe people aren't taking into account, is that it's a different game when you know that there are literally millions and millions of people. I think Brazil has I know it's in the insane amount of millions of people. So you can't tell me that added pressure of however many hundreds of millions are in the United States versus however many millions are watching in Brazil, that it's your first game ever walking out on a professional field. I'm betting money that the wide receivers that are a little more well-versed on our side are going to be able to take advantage of that situation. I hope that's the case. And I just expect us to win. I'm a little nervous, but I expect us to win.
Yeah, and I think right now, last I heard, they are 2.5-point favorites. The Packers are catching 2.5 there. If you want to put a little action.
Wait, the Packers are 2.5 favorites?
No, the Eagles are 2.5 favorites. The Packers are catching 2.5 points, meaning
I got you.
You take the Packers and the points there. So I'm not saying take the Packers and the points. I'm saying Packers lose by 1 or even 2 points. You still win the bet there. So
have you seen this thing? Apparently there's massive wildfires down there to
there's
the
all
point
kinds,
where,
and again, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but yeah, I've seen all kinds of, it was now how much is it real? How much of it is fake? Those wildfires did seem real. I don't know, man. It's just again, nothing better happened because it's going to get ugly quick. Because you know how it is, man. I'll just leave it at that. Anyway.
Yep.
But there you go. Quick little preview. We're going to do more of that as the week goes on. We'll continue to deep dive the PFF look at all the matchups here with the Packers and the Eagles. Let's finish up the offensive side of the depth chart here, and we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. As far as offensive line here, again, Jordan Morgan's the one that I'm a little concerned about. he's probably not going to start at right guard, right, Jacob? I don't know if I got your answer or not. Do you think Jordan Morgan has a realistic shot of starting, seeing that he missed all that time? Because it just seems like it makes a lot of sense to let Sean Ryan play, right?
I wouldn't expect him to start week 1. I just wouldn't.
There you go. All right, cool. What we'll do is we'll pick up tomorrow morning with the defensive side of the depth chart and kind of deep dive that and continue to jump into the Eagles preview because, guys, it's here. It's game week, man. Anything else you want to hit on before we wrap up here, Jake?
Honestly, no. I think we did a pretty good job. Tonight there is no show. I know there's some people asking in the comments if we'll be live tonight. We will not be, if I'm not mistaken, right, Clay?
Correct. Yeah, we've got typically during football season, we don't do a show on Friday nights. And the reason being is most people are out with dinner with the family and all that. And I've got my nephew. We're watching his senior year of high school here. So we'll be at the ball game. There's going to be weeks where the game's going to be away and I won't be traveling to the game. So we'll do a show. But that's why we're not doing a show tonight. Now, tomorrow night, got dinner plans with the wife, but we will be going live in the morning tomorrow and then midday tomorrow as well to get you guys some more content. So we'll be back to the normal evening schedule there on Sunday evening, which we'll be going live Sunday morning too. Again, I told you the plan is we're going to try to go live multiple times a day on a consistent basis. So today just worked out perfect. So there you go. And AFAM says Friday fish fry, Doug Clayton. Exactly. Get out there and eat that fish, man. I'll tell you, there's a place that just got added into Jonesboro, Tennessee down here, a restaurant that opened up called the Possum's Tail, believe it or not. I swear. And it's a British-themed pub, and they watch a lot of soccer down there and everything, which is really cool.
Fish and chips and
bro, it is so. And I'm not a fish guy, me personally. I'm not big into fish. I went down there and I was like, "Yo, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Let me try their fish because that's what they specialize." Bro, I was looking over at Mandy's plate. You gonna finish yours? Well, you got over there. It's unbelievable, man. So that's my new fish fry spot for sure. So. All right. Anything else, Jacob? We good?
No, man. Let's go, Pack, go.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central. I can't remember. Are you available or not, Jacob?
I'm going to try, but like I said, today's my birthday, so tomorrow morning, waking up early, we'll see how that works. I might have to pull an Emilio.
Please make it happen because I want to see your eyes like this.
That's probably what it's going to be like.
You think you're hurting tonight. Tomorrow morning, you really get it. So,
yeah.
But happy birthday, buddy. I appreciate everything you do here for sure. So
appreciate y'all.
All right, man. We're out. We will see y'all tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world and go back up.